Hello, book friends. Welcome back. And if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I want to share with you guys the 11 books that I read in the month of July. So, friends, as I said in the intro, I read 11 books this month, and I am very shocked. I really am. With vacationing and all the things that went on in July, I did not think that I was going to get 11 books in, but I did, and I want to share those books with you today. Because I have 11 books, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. And so what I figured I would do to kind of speed it along would be to just share my Goodreads or my Fable review with you guys, because it's pretty quick. Plus, I read so many, y'all, I just don't remember every single thing about these books unless they maybe were a 4 or 5 star. I just don't remember every detail anyway. I wouldn't tell you all the details. But I did have 1 5-star, and I actually am going to give the books to you guys with the exception of the 2 audio books that I did. I'm going to give them to you based on the rating from, 1 on down to the highest read book. So I am going to start with The Last Time She Saw Him by Kate White. And this was an audiobook that I did at the very beginning of July. And so I am going to read my ratings for this one. This is a thriller. We have our female main character being Kiki, and then we have our main male character being Jamie, and Jamie is Kiki's ex-fiance. Like I said, I'm not going to go into the synopsis or what have you, because I did that when I introduced that I was going to probably read the book. So if you missed that video, you can go back and get the tea on that. And I ended up giving this book a 3-star. Okay. See what I have here. So you have your female main character, Kiki, who is determined to find out who killed her ex-husband after a dinner party that they both were attending. The premise was good, but there was some plot holes, and I was not sure what the subplot of the story really had to do with it. So in this story, there was this subplot, and I just didn't get it. But if you read the book, you'll see it. I would say that this story was more of a mystery. So it wasn't so much as thrilling as it was trying to find out who murdered her fiance, or who she thought murdered her fiance. Because I say it's more of a thriller, because it wasn't, more of a mystery, because it really was not like on the edge of your seat or, a page turner type if I had read the book. So for me, if listening to it didn't do it, I doubt that actually using my eyes to read it would have done it justice either. So then what else did I have? There were no interesting plot twists, and it ended on a weird note because of the possibility of a new romance forming. I thought this was so weird. It was so weird that near the end of the book, I feel like you were led to believe something else was going on with a couple of people in the story. So this was just okay. However, I probably would give Kate White another chance. She has a lot of books out there. So I guess I would probably need to, I wish I would have, let me see. Do I have the year this came out? I believe this was a newer book for her, but like I said, I'll probably give her another try. Okay. So let me see. The next book that I have for you guys, and I'm really excited about this because Y'all know I'm really, really loving Tiffany Jackson. Tiffany D. Jackson. And let me see. Sorry guys, this is gonna be a little choppy because like I said, I am definitely gonna look down at my, iPad and try to get you the review that I gave for this book. Let's see here. Where's my review? And here it is. So let's see what I had to say. All right. So I did this book on audio. I gave it a 4.25. This is a YA. I do have the book here, which is really cool with the little edges and whatnot. And this book was super cool, but I did it on audio because I can't remember who the narrator was for this book, but they did a really, really great job. And so I would suggest reading the book along with the audio if you can get your hands on the audio. But you have, let me see, your main female character being Kaylani. I believe that's how they said it. Kaylani. This is a thriller. And it was a little bit creepy. It was kind of creepy. If I can recall, this took place, the majority of the story took place in Martha's Vineyard. And it was creepy. It gave me, it really did give me Get Out vibes. If you have seen the movie Get Out, not so much the plot and the themes and stuff in the movie Get Out, but it gave you that creepy feeling. And I don't want to go too much into this book, but basically, you have Kaylani, who is, her parents send her away. So, I guess I can mention, should I mention? Because even on the blurb, I don't think it mentions about her father. Her father is not, he's alive and he's with them, but he's away. All right. And so the mother and the father suggest that Kaylani goes to Martha's Vineyard. They know an older couple there who her father was in a very, long relationship with, business-wise. But it's summertime, so her mom decides to send her away for the summer because her mother works a lot since the father's away. And she sends her to Martha's Vineyard, and, Kaylani was really nervous about it. She doesn't know anybody. I think the older couple that she's going to, of course, they know her, but I don't think that she really knew them. And so it's a situation where she goes and a young man has been killed on the island and they're trying to figure out what happened. There's all kind of creepy situations going on. And that is pretty much the whole plot of the book, trying to figure out how this boy died. And Kaylani really gets involved in that, okay? Hence why you see her with her cute little self sticking with her little face up out the water like that. It was really good. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was Tiffany D. Jackson's first YA. I believe so. So I gave this a 4.25. If I didn't mention that before, I would definitely recommend this book. I mean, it's a really, really quick read, even if you don't do it with audio, but I definitely suggest that you do this with audio. It's under, I think, 250 pages. So you could read this in a day. Okay? So the next book, so those were the only two books that I did either audio or along with the book. And then we're going to go ahead and start with my books going from the lowest score on to the last 5-star, okay? So the next book I'm going to introduce to you guys is Church Girl by Naima Simone. I don't know why I always want to say Naomi, but and guys, I only gave this book a 3-star. I you know, I really felt like this book was kind of hyped up for real. And that's cool because to each his own. You know what I'm saying? To me, it might have just been, you know, a 3-star. To somebody else, you know, it was a 4-star, obviously. If you go on Goodreads, they gave it a 4-star. So like I said, I kind of could relate to this story just a little bit, just a taint, because I too, you know, grew up a church girl. I too had the, you know, father as a pastor and so on and so on. So there were definitely some expectations. Now my parents were nothing like the parents in this book, okay? But like I said, I kind of can relate to the story. However, it was a little bit disappointing to me. It was. Our female main character was Aaliyah, and then the main male character was Vaughn, and then you have her cousin Tamara. Tamara or Tamara. I can't remember how you pronounce it. So basically you have Aaliyah, who, you know, is pretty much being forced to marry this older, I guess he was a pastor or assistant pastor of her father's church. And she, you know, she got cold feet. And she got up out of there. The day of the wedding, she was like, you know what? I'm not about to do this. I'm leaving. She gets to her cousin Tamara, who lives in, and I can't remember where she lived. If it was Chicago or somewhere. Was it Atlanta? Let me see. Yeah, it was Chicago. And, you know, her cousin living her best life, honey. Her cousin got money. She doing some things that I'm not even going to tell you. You can read it in the story. But her cousin lets her come stay with her. In doing that, Aaliyah wants to go to school, and she needs to find a job, and that's where Vaughn comes in. And I believe, does it say anything about, you know, I think it's on the book. She ends up becoming a nanny for Vaughn, and there you go. Like I said, it was a little disappointing. I thought that I would be reading more about Aaliyah escaping the expectations of her parents and others who felt the need for her to conform to what they wanted. A lot of this story, a lot of her life was always conforming to what her parents wanted. So I appreciate the story in the sense that Aaliyah does eventually find courage to become her own. I also like that Vaughn helped a bit to shine some light on who she really is as an individual and maturing woman. Now, in my opinion, the spice was overshadowing the story a bit, okay? It really was. But overall, it was a quick read with some insight on how two very different people with different backgrounds come together and they find love. So, you know, the cover is all that. The cover is really, really cute, okay? Vaughn did kind of get on my nerves because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was a little older than her. And so it's a lot of things in there. I'm like, you know better, you know. But anyway, like I said, I gave this book a 3-star. And guys, look, like I said, and maybe it's because I am, you know, I'm aged like fine wine, honey. I'm just a little bit older than y'all, okay? And so the foolishness and all that, that's just not me. And so that's why I think this book would probably be good for a younger age group of people that would get it. I mean, I get it. I got it and good. You know what I'm saying? But it was overall a good book. And, you know, I really wanted to support this author. This is a Black author. And would I read something else of hers? Definitely. I sure would. I sure would. All right. We're going to move along. So then we have The Couple's Trip by... I could never pronounce this guy's name, y'all. I believe it is Ulf, U-L-F Kessler. Oh my gosh, y'all. Y'all probably like, what kind of reviewing is she doing? But look, I'm just being who I am, honey, and that's a star. Okay, so this was a debut novel for this author. And you have your female main character being Anna, and let me see, who is this? Anna and Melina. Now, Melina is her best friend, so it's a group of 3 friends: Anna, Malia, and Henrik. Okay, and so in a nutshell, they go every year on this hiking trip. And this particular year, Melina decides that she don't want to be a third wheel, okay? This year, she got her a man. And she wants him to come on this trip. However, her man a little bit too pushy, okay? He got a little bit too much to say about the trip that they already had planned or whatnot. So they go out in these woods, child, or wherever. They travel. They had to travel where they went, and it was not a short trip. But they travel, go up in these mountains, and child, that's where the disaster start. Okay? Listening to this friend. Okay? And I gave this book a 3-star. For a debut novel. I mean, it was okay. I think the author did pretty good. It was a page turner, and I was totally intrigued until the ending. Like, it definitely was a page turner, but that ending, baby, I'm like, what happened here? I was very confused about the ending of this book. It like, not only was it like it was a cliffhanger, but it was something else. Like, I'm like, are you about to start another story? Like, what is this? But if you're looking for looking for a thrill and some twists, and you're probably more of a seasoned reader where, I mean, even the seasoned readers, like, you know what? I need you to come with it. Like, don't leave me with a cliffhanger, and don't leave not making no sense. But if you know, just looking for a quick read and something with a thrill, and you want to try out this new author, then this is the book for you. Okay? All right. So then the next book that I have is The 5-Year Lie by Serena Bowen. Let me see. And what did I give this book? So I gave this a 3.75. Okay. I believe, was this the first? I believe this was her very first debut. I think this was her first debut as well. Thriller. I did read something else by her, and don't even get me the line, child. I can't even, it's a shame. You read so many books, and I can't even remember. But the cover looks a lot like this, I believe. But let's see. I'm just going to read the, what did I give this one? Okay, so Goodreads wouldn't let me be great. So on Goodreads, it shows that I gave it a 3-star. And I probably could have just gave it a 4-star on Goodreads. But I gave it a 3.75, okay? So I said for her first debut thriller, I give this one a thumbs up. I read this one along with audio. Totally forgot that, okay? And the narrators did a really, really good job on this. In this thriller, you will find romance, suspense, and twist. The story can be a little slow paced at times, but I was still intrigued, okay? And that is true. It was slow, but it kept me wanting to try to find out, okay? There are two POVs and a few other characters in this book that have a lot to say about what's going on. So, for those that may, struggle a little bit when it's more than two POVs, just giving you a heads up. My favorite character was the the main female character, Ariel. I really liked Ariel in this book. She was tough, and her love for her child was so endearing. Like, she ain't playing no games with her kid, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Mama Bear was out. And I love that in this book. She was a fighter, and I really believe she carried this book, okay? So, I would suggest this book to anybody who likes thrillers. And it was a domestic. Was this considered? Yeah, this was. Y'all know I love my domestic, right? Okay. All right. So we're going to get to the next book. Y'all, I hope I'm not going too fast, but look, I read 11 books, and I feel like if I get the yippity yapping, which I'm not really a big talker, we're going to be here all night. And I want y'all to watch this whole video, okay? If you have not done already, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. So let's get this moving. All right. So, For Better and Worse by Margaret Hunt. Margot. Why I say Margaret? Margot Hunt. All right. This is an older book with those deckled edges. I believe that's what it's called. And I don't know anything about this author. This was the first time I ever read a book by this author, and I gave it a 3.5. This book was entertaining, but it was not as thrilling as I expected it to be. Based on the synopsis, I felt like I had it all figured out, but there were some twists and turns that kept me turning the pages, okay? Did you hear what I said? It wasn't as thrilling as I expected. However, it held my attention. It really did. Once again, in this book, cliffhanger. I don't know what's going on with these cliffhangers, okay? I'm going to need y'all to finish the story, or, I think this book pretty old. If you're going to come out with a series, if this is a series, I'm going to need you to tell me. I'm going to need you to tell me up front that this is part of a series, because these cliffhangers, can get somebody a little irritated, okay? But overall, I enjoyed the book. And I must tell you, friends, to please check out the trigger warnings on this book, all right? Use ChatGPT or whatever that's called. Go look it up before you read these books. I probably need to do a little bit better about reading to see if triggers and stuff is in these books, because, child, some of these books, they done threw me for a loop. But would I suggest you read a book by her? Absolutely. I would suggest you read this book by Margot Hunt. All right? So, the next book that I have is The Woman in, what is this? Cabin 10. Well, it might help me to hold. In cabin, what's really going on? Okay. All right, friends. Let's see here. What did I give this book? I gave it, and this is by Ruth Ware. I did enjoy this book. This was the first time that I've read a book by Ruth Ware. I think I already have a couple of other books on my shelf, and this may have been, was this a newer release? I believe the reason why I started with this one, maybe it wasn't. I know she got no, this is not a new release. This came out in 2016, child. But she does have a new release out that I'm looking forward to getting to. But in this book, you have your female main character being Lo, okay? And Lo is some type of, what was she? She was like a, she was some type of journalist or something. And what she would do is, I guess, go on ships or wherever they would send her and do some kind of write-up or whatever. So that's how she ended up on this ship. The plot of it was intriguing to me. I really didn't want to put the book down. I wanted to read. This book will keep you turning the pages. Now, even though I like Laura, at some points in this book, she was a little irritating. Okay, she was annoying. She really was. But overall, the book was a really good read. You know, a lot of times I feel like, you know, when we say whether or not we like characters or whatever, you know, I always keep in mind that, first of all, it's fiction, okay? Second of all, the writer may have wrote them to be annoying. You see what I'm saying? So you just have to, you know, take it how you want to take it and feel how you want to feel. I wouldn't judge every book she writes moving forward. Like, now, even though, okay, you do have, Lord, what's that child name? Frida McFadden, who you can almost count on them being dumb and irritating. Somebody in her books is going to be dumb and irritating. But, which once again keeps us coming back. Don't lie, y'all know y'all love y'all some Frida. But in this one, you know, Laura, what have you, she was a little bit annoying because I feel like her decisions in this story, it's like, girl, come on. Okay, that's exactly why you where you are right now, okay? I did not guess the ending, okay? And with that being said, you know, I definitely recommend it. I like feeling like I know what the ending is, but you gonna get a high score from me if I don't guess. Okay, that's what a thriller is. You thrilled, honey. At the end, you are thrilled, and that's what this book gave me. All right, so I definitely would suggest reading The Woman in Cabin 10, and I'm looking forward to getting her new release. All right, this next book that I have is The Block Party, and I have not really heard a lot of people talk about Jamie Day a whole lot, at least not the people I watch, okay? At least not the thriller girlies that I watch. You know, this was a domestic. Now, I'm going to keep saying that y'all know I love me some domestic. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And this was a really, really good summer read. So even if you don't get to it this summer, honey, put it on your TBR for next summer. Because Jamie Day, she did her thing. She really did. She did her thing in this book. This was my first read by this author. And it really was not bad at all. If you're looking for last secrets, honey, neighborhood drama, domestic drama, family dysfunction, and somebody get, okay, at the barbecue, child, then this book is for you. All right. It does start out a little slow burn. You know, it started out as a slow burn, but I felt like the author was really just trying to give you a picture of the type of neighborhood this was. And it still kept me intrigued, honey. But when the twist started, the twist was twisting. Okay? When they got started, the twist was twisting. And I'm definitely looking to read her new book, and it's something at the lake or something. I'll put it up here. Now, with that being said, because see, y'all, I'm 2 weeks behind. We already in August. People are already talking about fall this and fall that. I do not think I'm going to be able to read her new release this year. Because I'm starting to get a little cozy myself, child. I'm starting to feel it a little bit too. But I'm going to pump my brakes and enjoy these last few weeks of summer that we have. So, anywho, like I said, she does have a new release, and I probably won't get to it till next summer. All right? But you will enjoy this book right here. All right. The next book I got. Now, y'all, did I tell y'all what I gave this book? I think I gave this one what did I give? I think I told y'all. I gave out a 4-star. The Block Party, I gave a 4-star. Now, this next book, y'all, woo, this one had, a lot of times when I read, I like to learn stuff. But if I'm reading a book that I want to learn something, that's just exactly what kind of book. For example, like when I read romances, I'm not really expecting a lot. You pretty much know what's going to happen. Somebody going to fall in love. Now, how they get there is what we really trying to find out, right? So, with contemporary, you kind of, I feel like you can learn something literary. You probably can learn something. There's something you trying to learn. Thrillers, look, it's a thrill. I'm not really trying to learn nothing but who did what, who done it. That's what I want to learn. So it ain't that deep for me. Okay. When we're talking about historical fiction, definitely I'm expecting to learn something. This one right here, child, I don't know if it's considered literary, contemporary, adult fiction, romance, what have you. This book had my mind it had my mind doing some thinking. Okay, because I don't know. All right. I'm going to just read my review. I gave this book a 4-star. And if it was not for, well, you'll see. I believe now that I'm thinking about it, I probably could have given this book a 4.5-star because I still think about this book. I still think about the characters in this book. And even though I didn't care much for the ending, well, I don't know. Let me read this. Okay. So I said I am still trying to process this story in order to formulate a more complete review, but here it goes. So that was just July the 22nd, okay? All right, so a very unfortunate and unfair situation occurs for this newlywed couple, and the consequences and results of their actions deliver a twisty but real ending, okay? So basically you have this young couple, and I can't remember their name, y'all. I'm talking about how much I can't forget it. Celestial and Roy are the female character and the male main character. Now, I did a vlog on this book. So if you did not see that vlog, go back and look for it. I may even post it somewhere around here so you'll know exactly which one it was. But you have Celestial and Roy, and then they had a friend, I believe. Did I have put his name in here? Wait. Andre. They had a friend, Andre. So, Celestial's decision making had me a little disappointed. I was very disappointed with Celestial in this book. If I had to say whether or not I like Celestial in this book, I really did not. She just ought to be, I ain't gonna judge her because, first of all, I don't know that I would have ever put myself in that situation. But never say never, okay? Her husband had went to prison for a crime that I still can't figure out if he really did it or not. And so then you got their best friend. And it's really more her best friend. She grew up with this guy's kids. They never could seem that they, could be anything more than that. But then, of course, he was there to comfort her while Roy was locked up, okay? So I feel like had she been a little bit more truthful with herself and her feelings, Roy and Andre still, may have stayed best friends, okay? I truly believe that she loved them both, but the decision to follow her heart was always up to her. It was always up to her, regardless of the situation, regardless of, anything. It was up to you. It was up to you. Okay. This was a new author for me. Tayari Jones. She has a couple of other books out. I really enjoyed this book. And now that I think about it, I didn't like the ending. And I really did not care too much for the female main character and her decisions. But once again, I feel like it wouldn't be a book probably if the character was not wrote up to be the way she was in here. Okay, it leaves you to thinking. I don't want to be too quick to say, you know, she's stupid or nothing, anything like that, because it's probably a lot of people out there that made the same choice that she did sometime in her life, in their life. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, you know, we all make our decisions, and sometimes, you know what, you got to pay for those decisions that you make. And so I would definitely tell y'all to pick this book up. Like I said, she got 2 other books that I need to put on my TBR. So I am going to be looking out for those. But y'all, read it. All right. So this next author, she really don't need no introduction. I mean, she an auto buy. She can write Mary Had a Little Lamb, and I probably read it like I never read that story in my life. But Kennedy Ryan, I could probably put her up there as being the GOAT, okay? The GOAT of romance. Now, have I read all the romances before y'all don't come for me? Have I read all the romance authors and all that? No, I have not, okay? But I have read a few. So I'm comparing them to the ones that I've read, all right? But Loving You Always is the book that I read this time by Kennedy Ryan. This is part of is a 4 or 3? 4-part series, I believe. No. Is this a part of the 4? It's part of the Bennett series, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Anywho, you have Karis, who is your female main character, and then you have Walsh as the main male character. All right. To me, accepting the truth is what this story speaks to me. Okay. Had Karis, Cam, and Walsh just accepted what was true and dealt with it, they all would have avoided the consequences of the heartbreak that they all suffered. All of them. Okay. Once again, we got this best friend scenario. Okay. I believe that Cam was a best friend of Walsh this time in this scenario. Well, it was the same as before. But Cam was a best friend of Walsh, but he also was cool with Karis, okay? And once again, you know what? We probably could compare these two a little bit, okay? Because Karis, you know, she needed to get her mind right. She really did. And the relationship between these characters should have been beautiful, but it turned toxic. It was based on choices, child. It was based on choices. But I was glad to see that they had a second chance to make things right. Okay? So this was a second chance romance. This was a second chance, you know, a little bit of everything else. I ain't gonna say what, because then I'm gonna be telling you the story, okay? On Goodreads, of course, they wouldn't let me be great and give this book a 4.5 star. So on Goodreads, it has 4, but I actually gave this 4.5. I could not put this book down until I found out Karis's decision. And that's all I'm going to say about this. This love story was about love. It was about forgiveness. It was about second chances. It was about family. We had some grief in there. We had some friendship restoration. We had facing the truth, okay? We had courage, and it was so good. It was really, really good. I need to hurry up. My goal is to get through the rest of this series, or I don't even know. I think it's 4 books or something like that. I read another, the other one, I think, last month. I got to get through this. Love me some Kennedy Ryan. All right? Now, last but not least, I got to save the best for last. Child. I just don't know. I just don't know. S.A. Cosby, the man scares me, really. His style of writing, it took me a minute to even decide if I wanted to read this book, because I read Blacktop Wasteland and I was like, I gotta be in a certain mind space to read S.A. Cosby books. I'ma just say that. I have to be. Okay? This man is. Now, if I had to pick a thriller and really I'm gonna have to put him in his own little section, because his thrillers, I have not found anybody to compare to him yet. Okay? I have not. Now, maybe y'all know. And if y'all know somebody that compares to King of Ashes, put it in the comments. Okay? Put it in the comments and let me know. Now, I already be scared to read S.A. Cosby stuff, but it's like a train wreck, and you can't put it down. When I tell you, this was the darkest thing that I have ever read in my life. All right? This book was still fire. It was fire. Every single chapter had me in a chokehold. S.A. Cosby's way of describing his descriptions are captivating. They mind-blowing, thrilling. Oh my gosh. His writing is top-notch, chef kiss, whatever you want to call it. There were moments when I really had to just put the book down, because it had my heart racing, like on the edge of the seat. I don't even like to watch movies like that, for real. Like, and I wouldn't compare this stuff. Well, I don't do horror. Okay. Those who know me, those who have been on my channel for a while, since last November, I don't do horror. Okay. But this right here had my heart racing. It had me outright scared. Now, there are some serious trigger warnings in this book, okay? We talking about violence. We talking about drug abuse, period. We talking about suicide. We're talking about death of a parent. Like, that is what I want to warn people who may be first-time thriller readers. This is not a novice. This book is not for somebody who may be new to thrillers, honey. Because I wouldn't suggest this to somebody. If somebody came to me that was new reading thrillers and said, suggest me a book, this would not be one of them. All right? But it was still good. It was still good. Will I read something else? Of course. Like I said, I just got to get my mind right and be sure that I can handle his stuff. Shoot, I think I got what I got. I got All the Sinners Bleed still, and Razor Blade Tears. But from what I hear other people talking about those books, I should be all right. I think this one right here, I think this one that came out this year was some of the best writing. And that's just me. Y'all, 5 stars. He was my only 5-star. Last month, I don't think I had no 5 stars. But come July, S.A. Cosby did it for me. Woo! Y'all, if y'all read any of these books, got any comments, if you read King of Ashes, I want to hear what you got to say, or lead me to your Goodreads or what have you, and tell me if I'm just being dramatic or what. But I had a really good July month with my reading. I'm more than halfway near my goal for the year of, I think I put 100 books. And so I'm more than halfway there. Guys, I had a really good time this month. Look, I'm looking forward to August, baby. August gonna be on and popping too. I believe I'm probably gonna have more 5 stars next month for sure. But we talking about July, okay? I'm gonna let August have his own space. We talking about July, all right? So like I said, guys, if you read any of these books, please hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you like them. Leave this emoji, all right? Leave this emoji and let me know that you made it to the end of my video. You know, a lot of booktubers will tell you it really helps when you get to the end, honey. And if you don't leave nothing but the emoji, all right? Because everybody don't like chatting it up. I get it. But if you don't leave anything but the emoji, I would appreciate it so much. Friends, until the next time, keep being who you are, and that's a star. So keep shining. Bye.